Hey guys, this is the Circular Tech Show broadcasting straight from Amsterdam. Today I have a special guest, Jordan from Vodafone. Please introduce yourself. Please tell the people what you're doing and what makes you and your company unique before anyone else.
Yeah, sure. So I work at Vodafone. I lead the refurbished products and proposition. I think what makes us unique is I think we're probably one of the networks in the UK that's really taking the refurbished market seriously and trying to push it forward as much as we can, utilising as much as our own buyback devices. Only one having 3 separate grades as well. So I think it's quite an exciting space. But yeah, I'm more than happy to be and join this conversation.
Perfect. Then tell me, how did you come to refurbishment? How did Vodafone come to refurbishment? When I was 18, Vodafone was one of the first companies offering the first phones, and and now I'm having internet from Vodafone via cable and stuff. But how did Vodafone come to refurbishment?
Do you know? I think Vodafone has really, over the past past 4, 5, 6 years, I've started to take sustainability quite serious. I think it really started by figuring out what can we do with our 14-day returns devices, right? And of course, they've got their trading, buyback trading. They've got all these devices coming back into the warehouse. You've got your trading devices, you've got your 14-day returns. It was about thinking about a way to try and resell these devices, reuse them, get longer life out of these devices, and that sort of birthed Refurb to be the home of, okay, we're doing this buyback proposition with our consumers buying brand new. We'll take those devices, repurpose them, and resell those, right? And it's the same with our 14-day returns as well. So yeah, I mean that's how it kind of birthed, but it's really grown into something a lot bigger now on the back of that.
Yeah, that's my question. Growing a lot bigger. How did the market change during the last years?
Oh, massively. I think. So if I go back many years ago, one of my first jobs was working at CEX, right? CEX is like a computer exchange store where they sell second-hand devices. It was a very particular type of consumer or customer that will be happy to buy a second-hand device. I feel like now, I think everyone's adapting to being a lot more comfortable with buying refurbs. I think now there's a lot more testing going on. There's a lot more certifications and a lot more trust in the product. So now your average consumer is probably way more likely now to buy a second-hand device than they were maybe 3 or 4 or 5 years ago. So I think that's really helped the growth. And of course, there's a pricing benefit. Obviously we're hearing about the RAM shortages of the what was it? Is it the
No.
There's a RAM shortage on brand new devices at the minute. Which is increasing.
Qualcomm, I think.
It is, which is increasing the price of new devices. They're constantly going up, but then refurbs can be that little gap that's a bit more affordable. So I think it's growing. I think it's definitely growing.
What do you think were the biggest challenges in circular economy and the market at the moment?
Supply. Everyone says this, right? So supply.
Maybe you can take my question. Like the biggest challenge is the supply.
Yeah. Of course. Oh, does this get cut? Okay, perfect. For sure. I think the biggest challenge at the moment, there's a few challenges, but one of the biggest ones is for sure supply, right? Especially the EU spec devices, getting those OEM parts. It's so hard, it's so difficult. And this is why we rely greatly on trading. So we try to push trading as much as we can from our consumers. We've got a really strong attach rate, one of the strongest attach rates in Europe. So we really try and push on that to try and build up our own supply so that we're not sort of stuck in this shortage. But I think the more consumers get used to, it becomes a bit of the norm of when you buy a phone, you trade in a phone, right? That gets resolved. That gets resolved for sure.
So you said refurbishment is accepted in public and it's a real alternative to buying new.
Yes.
So why people still buying new?
Very good question, and we need consumers to buy new, right? We need consumers to still buy new at the same time to keep the flow of refurbished, right? If everyone starts buying brand new, refurbished supply, the biggest issue is supply, that gets even worse. But there's always going to be, I've got a friend that will buy a brand new iPhone every year it's released, right? Every year it's released. Some people keep them for 3, 4 years. Some people are still Apple hungry or Samsung hungry, because there's still going to be that cohort of customer. That will still always go and buy brand new. But I don't know if what we're starting to see is the younger generation are way more likely to buy a second-hand and refurbished phone, and they're a lot more conscious about their sustainability efforts. So, yeah, I think there's also going to be the cohort that buy brand new, which is fine. We need that. We need to keep that circularity going around. But for sure, this secret giant, this little quiet giant of refurbs is definitely growing at the same time as well.
What do you think will the future look like?
Oh,
What will change?
what will change in the future? I need to think about this one. Cut this out. I need to think about this one. What will change in the future? In the future, you know what I do feel what will happen, and it's starting to happen now. I think at the minute, I think refurbs has always been seen as sort of a second choice, right? A second option, more of an alternative. I do think in the future, refurbs will be like side by side with brand new as a credible first choice option. And I think the moment that happens, I do feel that happening. I see that happening with our consumer base today. I see that happening with all the insights and trends that we're seeing. And it's still a little bit of, uncertainty around second-hand devices. But as that trust grows, which I think it will, there's many people here today that are doing wonderful things to, promote refurb devices and grow that trust. Loads of different, like Mobi check, phone check, all these things that are going on. I do think at some point, refurbs will be a credible choice, line by line, with brand new. And it won't be just hidden in the background as an option. It will be like side by side.
Cool. So, one last thing. Maybe you have some good advice directly for our audience, maybe for newcomers in the business. What should they do, what they shouldn't do, or whatever you want to tell the audience.
Oh, please say that question again. I apologize. Say that question one more time.
Maybe just one good advice or some good advice for our audience. Maybe for newcomers in the business or for other players in the business. Whatever you want to say to the audience, now's your chance.
Oh, are we talking about business owners or consumers?
To whatever.
To whatever. Okay, I would say to the consumers, go in every single one of your drawers, in your cupboards, whatever phones you have in there that you haven't yet traded in, and you brought a new phone, trade that phone in. There's so much great value in there, and you'll be contributing significantly to this growing economy that we're building in circularity for sure. Trading.
Perfect. So you guys heard, don't sit on your old devices, go through your closets, empty everything, get all devices out and trade.
Yeah.
John, thank you very much.
It's a pleasure.
Have a nice day.
Thank you very much.
It was a pleasure.
No worries.